Hi, welcome into Sparkle.Sanctuary. If you're new here, my name's Rebecca. Thank you all for joining today. I thought I would do a WIP and chat. These happen frequently on YouTube, and I had some interesting insights from this week, so I thought I would share. WIP and chat is like a work in progress in chat, so I will be sharing what I'm working on. And feel free to work in the background, watch, listen, whatever it is. I know when I personally listen to people's WIP and chats, I will put it on in the background and I will diamond paint. So, but if you want to, you can see today I have this is a Peachy Keen pin that I won from Lexi Sparkle Crafts. And I thought the colors would do well. There's quite a bit of pink here in this image. There's a little bit of green here when there's green in the image. And then because I am doing this for Oz in August, I thought the yellow kind of represented the yellow brick road. So there's also blue in this diamond painting, but it's on that side, so you can't really see it. So, but anyway, this was a pin that I have that matches. I don't tend to use these pins all of the time, but I thought you all might like to see it. So let's see. I also have this cover minder. It says main character energy. It was one that I made, but this image, I think in my unboxing, I mentioned that it reminds me of Wicked. So I thought that, would be a good match. And then this is also another, cover minder that I personally made. I just got this dragon off of, it's like a brooch or something, and took the stuff off and made it into a magnet so that the one magnet is underneath here and then this one is on top, so it'll stay there. But it has little emerald diamonds in here, and it's green and yellow, and I believe there's dragons in the Wizard of Oz lore. I haven't read all of the books, so I can't say for sure, but I thought that they worked well. So anyway, the tray that I'm using, I almost always use this tray. I think the Bella Art de Nicole trays have a decent high side, but most importantly, like I hold my trays like this while I'm diamond painting because I work on an easel at an angle, and this is very comfortable for my hand. I have tried other trays. I like other trays for different reasons, and when my easel is flat, I will use other trays, but when I'm going to be sitting with it angled like it is now, I do hold this. And so this is the tray I tend to go with. But anyway, I am about a fourth of the way done with this picture. And it's, I don't know that I said, this is Witch Girl from Make Market. And I'll have all of that stuff linked in the description box. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. It's my first square from Make Market, and it's been working okay. I'm not sure, like there's been a few colors that have had quite a bit of trash. And so it's not the best. And these are definitely not resin diamonds. But when I consider the fact that after my, after the coupon, because I mean, this, it was only like $15, $16 regularly. And then there was, I had a coupon for a percentage off, and then I had a $10 rewards. I mean, honestly, at the end of it, I only spent like $9.50 on this image. And so I am not going to complain about them not having resin diamonds. Like it just, it works fine, and they're working. There have been a few colors that are pretty trash prone. So that's been, I have to pick through those, but honestly, like not a big deal. As long as I have enough, I'm not going to care. So anyway, let's start. I'll go ahead and just kind of talk about, I'll just start from a week ago and work my way forward and all the things that happened this week. So, on Saturday, so today is Saturday the 10th, August 10th. Would have been today's my dad's birthday. So happy heavenly birthday to my dad. I will be going out to the cemetery later today to, take him some flowers, I think. But, anyway, then, Saturday last week, I moved my, almost 20-year-old son. He will be 20 in October. Moved him to his college town, and moved him into an apartment. So that was new and exciting. Last year he lived in the dorms. And so, you know, an apartment is definitely different. That one's trash. So, anyway, it was a very interesting. It was kind of arranged for myself last minute. And then, turns out that, I'm glad I took my boyfriend with me because, just the situation, I have a healthy fear of my ex-husband, and so I tend to make sure that I'm safe and protected and keep my distance and things like that. And so I took my boyfriend with me because I was, you know, apartments are small spaces and people are moving around, and I just didn't feel comfortable being there by myself. And I am so grateful he went because he was very, very, very helpful. Moved some big things because it ended up just being my son and his girlfriend, and then my ex-husband and his boyfriend, and then myself and my boyfriend. And if we hadn't gone, then my 2 younger daughters wouldn't have gone. So we had 8 bodies instead of the 4 bodies that they were originally going to have. So I feel like that helped make things move much more quickly into that apartment. But so yeah, it went pretty well. I mean, honestly, like, I normally am incredibly uncomfortable, like I said, around my ex. And so this time, I don't know, it seemed a little bit, it was easier, I guess. And it was very interesting. My kids were all very thrown because while we are technically court ordered to not speak to each other, my ex-husband did speak to me a few times. And, you know, I didn't, you know, I just tried to be polite and respond as minimally as possible. And then, and they were, you know, my kids were already baffled by that because they were like, Mom and Dad, don't talk now. You know, we split ways in September of 2015. So it's been 9 years. You know, my kids are kind of used to this. They're aware of my discomfort. They don't know what happened. As they've gotten older, they are learning a little bit, but, you know, they don't know all the history, and I don't have any intention of telling them anytime soon. But, you know, that's something, if they eventually want to know, I may divulge more. But anyway, they are aware that it makes me uncomfortable. And so, you know, they give me grace, and I appreciate it. I have always wanted, you know, I wish that it would have been something a little bit more amicable, and that, you know, we could have a better relationship for our children. Like that would be the ideal. That's when you know, I never imagined myself getting divorced, but I always thought if I had to get divorced, I would never make it hard or awkward for my children. And so this has not been an easy journey, and it's not been easy for them, and it's been hard. And so I definitely appreciated having that little bit of, you know, that little bit of difference that last weekend. So anyway, it was very weird, because, you know, after they were mostly done moving stuff in, my ex-husband needed to get his boyfriend home because his boyfriend has a heart condition as a result of the Rona infection. And so he has to carry a pack around with him, and there's something on it that needs to be changed out. But so he had to get back. They had to get back to their hometown, and they were getting ready to head out, and they had started talking to my son and his girlfriend and my girls because it was his weekend with them, so he was going to take them all to lunch. And he had talked about going to a place called Raising Cane's. Now, I don't know if you have that where you are, but I love Raising Cane's. It is one of the few what would be considered fast food restaurants that I can eat at. I can't have gluten, and so they do have naked clucks there, and I just notify them that, you know, I have an allergy, and usually I've not, you know, had any problems with it so far. So I'm not sure, like, I wouldn't say if you have like an allergy where you have, you know, gastrointestinal issues or things like that, I'm not sure if it would work for you. But yeah, definitely worth looking into if you liked Raising Cane's. But, and I think the Naked Clucks are actually better than the regular chicken strips, but you know, to each their own. So anyway, he started talking about taking them to lunch, and my boyfriend and I had already I'd been asking to go to Raising Cane's for a while, and we don't have one in my hometown, and we had actually planned to drive out the night before, and then my son was like, hey, we're going to be moving, and so we just waited an extra day, and so I had to awkwardly say, okay, so not to make things awkward, but we'll end up seeing you there, because we had already planned to eat there, just like talking to my children. And my ex-husband said, oh, and he was like, well, we're already going to be there, so you're welcome to join us, and that, you know, we can all sit together. And my kids kind of looked at each other, and I kind of looked at my boyfriend, and kind of smiled and was like, okay, thanks. And yeah, we went, and we sat together. It was the first time, and it was different, but it was nice to feel unafraid. I don't know how to explain that. I mean, I was still nervous, and put my boyfriend, and made sure my boyfriend was between my ex-husband and myself when we sat down at the table. But and we were like, it was myself and my boyfriend and my ex-husband, so we weren't like facing each other. We didn't have conversation at the table, but my kids were there, and for my kids to see us all sitting together, it definitely threw them. My oldest daughter wasn't able to go because she had prior engagements, and she found out about it from her siblings and was completely baffled, and actually asked me about it later, and she was like, what is going on? And yeah, it was like being in an alternate universe, really. It was. And it's really sad that I haven't been able to give that to them this whole time. And I had always hoped and prayed that things would get better. But, you know, when you have history and fear, you know, you can only do so much. So, yeah. So I was grateful to have been able to have safety and comfort in my boyfriend. I was grateful to have the opportunity to show my kids, you know, like, this wasn't, they know, like, they don't know, but they know, like, I've said before, I would love to be in a place where we could do, you know, I don't necessarily want to go to Thanksgiving dinner with my ex-husband or anything, but I would like to be in a place where things just aren't hard. And it's really sad that it's taken this long for things to kind of die down. But, you know, I was with him for 16 years, and that's a really long time to live in fear and to have to get over. So, you know, it's taken me a long time. And I mean, there's been other times where we've been around each other, and it wasn't like, we never fight. It doesn't, like, in the beginning when we were getting divorced, before I found somebody that could help me kind of stand up for myself, there was several issues. In fact, I have a shoulder injury, as a result of it, but, yeah, it's getting better. And, I feel like his boyfriend has helped ground him a lot and helped, make him a better person. So yeah, I like that guy. I'm kind of glad that he has him, but I'm also very sad that he has this heart condition, and I'm hoping that they are able to find him a transplant at some point, because my kids love him and he seems like a decent person. So I don't know him terribly well, but yeah. Anyway, so after all of that, like, it was good to kind of sit and talk to my kids and say, see, you know, like, things can and do get better. You just have to give them time, and give yourself grace and give yourself space, which I think will be helpful for them if they ever decide, if he ever starts to backslide and they decide to go no contact. So, yeah, I don't know. It may, you know, like he always had good days. Like my ex-husband is very, very charming person, and can definitely put on a pretty good show. So I'm not letting my guard down, but I definitely appreciated that I could have that moment with my kiddos. But anyway, moving on, probably gave too much information there, but the next thing, and I think this is the big one, kind of want to talk about like emotions and being able to navigate them in the day-to-day world when, you know, like we live in a time when people are allowed to be emotional, but a lot of us who have trauma or past emotions tend to, I don't know, push them down and not actually allow ourselves to experience them. And so I'd like to kind of talk about like what's happening at my job. There was, well, first I should say I work for a public school, and I work on a grant. And as of this moment, the grant that I'm working on, the contract ends September 30th. And the next grant, while I've been told by Human Resources and by the grant coordinator that they're pretty positive it's going to be approved for this year, it technically hasn't been approved yet. And so there is a small chance that it won't be. And so going back to work this last week was a bit nerve-wracking. Sorry, there, I got a little putty. Oh yeah, I should say I'm using Randa's Crafty Corner putty in my multi-placer. I'm also using the same. It's like a glue dot. Let me see if I can't. If I don't find it, I will link it below. But oh, it's these Oh Snap dots. Yeah, I'm still using one of these pieces here. So yeah, it's been working fairly well. But anyway, it's been a bit of a stressful week, thinking, you know, I'm going and setting up my room and getting everything ready, and they're setting me up with, you know, schedules and plans, and they're still not even 100% sure that I will get to stay after September 30th. So it's, you know, I do get child support for my kiddos, but it's just my income and I don't ever count on child support being a thing. I mean, there's been times when it didn't come through. And so I really like to just make sure that my income pays the bills. And then I use child support for things like their school supplies or their clothes or their activities or their gas or whatever. And so knowing that, you know, I have to think about that when I think about this job, you know, like, am I going to be able to pay my bills? And I do have a little bit of savings, but I haven't been paid in 2 months now. And so like the idea of being jobless with what little left I have in my savings is definitely stressful. And so yeah, and so I've been between that, and then I also have some kind of like thing going on with my inner ear. And when I went and saw the doctor, she said my eardrum was bulging, and they put me on medications. And so I'm actually on a steroid, which is not allowing me to sleep. So yeah, so this week I went to work on Monday, and I didn't get hardly any sleep this week. And then there's a new lady in the room that I'm located in this year, and I'm allergic to the sun. And so I had told I had told everybody before I left that there was a section, because this room has one wall that's nothing but windows. There's literally 10 windows across this wall. And I had said like the best place would be for me to sit. So like if this was the room, the windows are on this side, the best place would be for me to be on this side of the room, like on the other side, right? Because there's like this little alcove. Well, I came into work and she had already set up her stuff in that alcove. There is another alcove on this side of the room, but it's by the window, so it's really like the same thing. And then on this side of the room, there's a wall of there's like cubbies that are like right about head height when you sit down in a chair. And so, yeah, I mentioned, I like tried to talk about the fact that I was allergic to the sun, and the lady over here was like adamant that she was set up and she wasn't moving. And so I didn't even bother asking if she'd be willing to move to allow me to be further away from the windows. I just decided, like, we closed a lot of the blinds and they told me we would adjust. And so I've been trying to make it my own space and try to make it safe for me. And so far things are mostly pretty good. There is still the issue of when I push my chair back, it is possibility for me to hit my head on this shelf unit. So I am currently, the chair that I'm using is tall enough, and you know, if I continue to use that chair, it won't be a problem. But there is conversation that they will be bringing me a different chair, because the new girl actually took my chair too. And so, and you know, like, it just is what it is. She was there. She didn't know. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that she didn't know. I'm pretty sure I had my name on it, but you know, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. As long as I have a chair, I don't care. Last year I was like, my desk was in a classroom and I had kids in group in the hallway. So honestly, I'm just grateful to have a space to be able to take the kids and to do that kind of stuff. So but yeah, so there's talk that they're going to be bringing me in a replacement chair. And if they do, that chair will definitely make it so I can hit my head. And so I will need to reevaluate. But the only other thing was cords. And so I ordered an extension cord to run along the floor. And then I bought a cover for it so that I can, you know, make sure that it's going to stay on the floor and not trip me. But, yeah, so it's working out, but that very first day when I went in, all of my stuff had been moved, and it looked like some of my items might actually have been taken out of the room. And but there was just like a giant pile of desks and chairs and things just in this one space. And they were like, well, you do with it what you want. We were, you know, the other ladies in the room were busy. And so I spent a couple days like pulling stuff out and moving things around and just trying to get everything organized and set up, and got my desk moved and got all of the things set up, and everything's looking fairly well. But I didn't sleep, and just that initial conversation with that lady that day had felt a slight bit uncomfortable for me. And so I, you know, after, you know, all of my stress, it didn't settle and I couldn't sleep. And so I made a post on Facebook and was like, I couldn't sleep. The day was weird. It could have been met with a little bit more kindness, but most people were very nice, and I'm glad to be back, and the kids are the reason I'm there. And, you know, I didn't think anything of it. I know that there are people from the school on my Facebook, and so I didn't feel like I said anything out of line. But when I went in, I had a meeting with my boss. That was the other thing. On Tuesday, my boss was like, hey, he sent me an email and said, can you schedule a time to meet with me? And I know, like, there's that, you know, go over the expectations for the year and kind of thing, but it's still, after the way I had been feeling, it didn't settle. And so that it was another reason I just didn't sleep. it was rough. So, anyway, on Thursday, I finally met with my boss and found out what was, you know, and I was right. He just wanted to kind of talk about my expectations and what I'd be doing this year. Because my job it's a little bit malleable. I can be utilized for different reasons. I'm really there. I work with kiddos with their mental health. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, or a social worker, but I do have the ability to work with kiddos in a different capacity because of that. So anyway, we were kind of going over that kind of stuff. But before, he sat down and said, so I just want to touch base with you about your Facebook post. And I was like, oh my gosh, it wasn't anything bad. I didn't tell him what happened in the classroom. In my room. I didn't want to call out anything, and I didn't want to draw attention to anything. It just was what it was. You know, I don't, you know, she's a new girl and I don't fault her. You know, time will tell. It just, you know, it's hard getting along with new people, and, you know, just have to accommodate. And I just told him, and here's the lesson. I told him that, I still don't know about my job, and I'm on this steroid medication that's keeping me from sleeping. And, I came in and things were not as I was expecting. In fact, I didn't even know that there had been a change in staffing until like the 2 days before, in that room. And so I was, that's a lot. That's a lot to take in at once. And so I said, I just need grace, when things are changing, I can pivot. And that's the word I told him. I was like, that's my word. That's my key phrase. I'm willing to pivot. I'm always willing to pivot, and I can pivot. But sometimes when, I'm told news, I need time to process. And so like that day after everything, I had called my mom on the phone on the way home and cried, and then sat in my driveway for a moment and cried, and then went in and took a deep breath and went about my life and about my evening, and decided I allowed myself time to feel the emotions of that day and the stress. And then I allowed myself the opportunity to pivot. So yeah, he appreciated that I wasn't, going to call out that individual. Like there was no need, like she didn't technically, that I can prove, at least she didn't do anything wrong. Like, she set up her stuff. I was the last one to come in. And, that just may be how things are where she was. I had already had it in my mind. And so you need to be willing to be flexible and adjust, right? So anyway, as the week went on, it was exhausting, but it got better. And I was able, like I said, to get things to kind of work in the way I wanted them to. And, it all came together. My space looks nice and it's comfortable for me, and hopefully it will be comfortable for the kiddos that come in there and need to work with me. So yeah, I also had opportunity to help a few teachers with some of their things, because it's not like I have I don't have a curriculum and the room to myself to decorate and all of the things. Had some time to visit with them and help them out, and that was nice. It was nice to see familiar faces. I work in kind of a rough school, and it's elementary, but it's a rough school, and so places like that tend to have a bit of a higher turnover. So the administration, though, is wonderful. I think very highly of all of them. They are a great team to work for. So I am very, very, very hopeful about my job. I just pray about it, and I'm acting as if I'm going to continue working there, and I'm going to continue to act like that until I am told otherwise. So yeah, that was my week, though. That was kind of stressful. And then I came home and remembered that I forgot to I have a jury duty summons, and so I've got to take that in to make sure that they're aware of it in case I do end up having to go in for jury duty later this month. So yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. So, but yeah, this was a week, and kind of hard in weird ways, unexpected ways. And, just you have to keep smiling. You have to keep moving on, and you have to keep having faith. And if you're into that, and I am a faith-driven person. I don't want to say I'm a Bible thumper, because I don't want to give wrong context to it. I do have faith, and it's important to me, but it's not. I'm a firm believer that that love is what's important. And so I believe in, being there for people and caring for people and just loving people. And so, yeah. But with that, I do go to church, and I am part of the band at my church. So I sing pretty regularly. Sorry for my chair squeaking. Hopefully you don't hear that. But yeah, so I listen to and sing Christian music, and I don't know, we're a fairly small church, so it's not, I'm not a big deal or anything. I just really enjoy singing, and I'm very grateful that they allow me that opportunity. And I I have considered like just doing little short TikToks of things like I love The Wizard of Oz, and when I was little, I would always swear that I was Dorothy and I was gonna sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and I would love to. I was thinking about just doing a short TikTok, possibly singing that song while working on a diamond painting. I don't even know if that's a possibility in my brain, but I do love that song, and I'm considering doing something like that. What else? I have a Muni-made diamond painting coming to me today, so I will probably record an unboxing of that to post here pretty soon. And I have a few other things that I've already recorded that I'm going to be posting. I'm not sure when, but like one of them I'm considering re-recording. I don't know. I have to go back and watch it and see how it turned out before I decide. But yeah, I have a few things ready to go, and looking forward to continuing this endeavor. You know, this is definitely new, and it's kind of time consuming. And so I don't know how much content I will be putting out there. You know, I need this to be fun for me, and I need it to be something I enjoy doing, because it's, you know, I don't get paid for this, and I don't know that I'll ever get monetized. And so, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but so far what I've been doing, I've been enjoying, and hopefully other people are enjoying it. I know the few ASMR videos that I've put out there are getting a little bit of traction, so that's kind of cool. I think the unboxing that I did for this diamond painting did incredibly well. That one had, you know, I didn't get a lot of subscribers, but it had over 200 views, which was not expected at all. But I did hit 60 subscribers this week, which was kind of cool. I honestly, when I started this channel, I kind of was like, I just want to place, because I've had it happen before where I've been at Michael's actually looking through the Make Market kits, and this lady was brand new to diamond painting, and she had questions about it, and I was trying to explain it, but it's kind of hard to explain when you can't actually visually see the diamond painting. And she was like, you have a lot of knowledge about this. Do you have a YouTube or something that I could follow? And I said no. And I wish I could run into that lady again, because now I do. But that's kind of, you know, how I started thinking about like all of the knowledge that I have, and how few people actually know what's available and what's out there. And I do generally, I mentioned, I mentioned to her in the store, like diamonds and washi, and I mentioned emeralds and fairy lights, and I mentioned Shay, you know, crafting with Shay. Like, I think I mentioned several channels, but you know, like, I couldn't recall which one of them had recorded what information. And so it would be nice, I thought it would be nice if I had my own channel where I could say, you know what, I haven't addressed that yet, but if you follow my channel, I can definitely put that on my to-do list, and I can answer these questions for you. You know, like, that would be very nice. So, yeah, I just, yeah. And so that's kind of how this, my boyfriend was very encouraging. He really wanted me to do this. He knows about the love I have for diamond painting. Oh, I just dropped one. And the knowledge that I've accumulated over the last 4 years. I kind of, looking at it now, wish that I had been able to start my channel sooner. But, you know, my last job was so consuming. Like, it was so consuming. And I would just come home exhausted, and I would be frightened on Sundays. I would think about, you know, having to go back to work, and I would get the Sunday scaries. Like, my anxiety would be really high, and I would be really stressed out. And it's so unfortunate, because I loved the people that I worked with. I loved what I like the cause and what I worked for, what I was doing. I loved that. But so I was an advocate for people with disabilities, and I loved doing it. I loved being able to help find them resources. I loved being able to advocate on their behalf and doing everything I could to ensure they were living their best life. And I miss a lot of the people that I worked with. There were some really great people, not just like clientele that, had disabilities, but also like the other people who did my job. I enjoyed several of them and made friends, or at least I thought I did. I haven't really talked to many people since then. I've tried connecting a few times, but it's not gone well. And I think that that's pretty par for the course with a job. When I tell you I'm your friend, I genuinely am your friend. But I think there's work friends and then there's real friends, if that makes sense for most people. It doesn't for me. They're all real friends to me, but every job I've ever had, I hang out with people even after work, and then once that job changes, then we don't hang out anymore, which is sad because I don't have a lot of friends. I lost a lot of people when I finally started coming forward and telling people what was going on in my home life when I was going through my divorce process, and people didn't believe me. And so I lost a lot of people because I couldn't, I'm very, that's trash. I always prided myself on being trustworthy, and it's a huge thing for me to be trustworthy. And so when people didn't believe me, I realized that they didn't know me. So I had to walk away from quite a few relationships, and that was hard. But, so yeah, and making friends when you're an adult with, teenage/adult children, it's hard. And so I relied on finding people through work, and, it just doesn't always work out. People have their own motivations. So, yeah, but, anyway, I don't know what else I was going to say. Let me think for a moment. Anyway, I really don't know what else to talk about. I feel like things at work got better, as the week went on, for sure. Aside from me being cautiously optimistic about my job future, otherwise it's been fine. Monday, some of the kids will be coming to school Monday, and so I will get to see them and start, the process of the things that I do. And I'm looking forward to being able to work with them. When you work with kiddos with trauma, it's heartbreaking, but it's also I know what I know, and I know what I'm doing. And I really, truly feel like I make a difference in what I'm doing. And that's, I just feel like it's amazing to know that I can help make these kids' lives a little better in some capacity. And so that's pretty amazing. So, yeah, I'm very, very grateful to have had this opportunity this last year. And, yeah, really pray that I will continue to be able to have that opportunity and be able to continue to be that for the kids, because it's so important. These kiddos need to know that somebody cares, and they need to have that consistency. And they have that. I mean, they have that some from their teachers, but having multiple people on your team, it matters. But, yeah, so, let's see. I don't know how long I've been recording. I don't know. Was there anything else I was going to talk about? Let me pause here for a second. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say. Oh, I should probably go ahead and give, so my degree is in psychology, and I'm looking at possibly going back to school because, I mean, originally when I got my degree in psychology, my original plan actually was to be a school counselor, and I just never continued down that path. I ended up being a stay-at-home mom for 10 years instead. And so now I'm looking at it financially. I don't think that it's feasible for me at this, like still at this juncture. I don't want to take out student loans and get into debt. I literally just had, like, my student loans were paid off a year ago in October, so it's not even been a year. And I mean, I graduated college in 2002, so you know, it took me over 20 years to get that taken care of. And I just, as much as I want to do that, like, not being in debt is also incredibly important to me. So trying to determine what to do there. So that's something I'm thinking about and working on. And you know, do I have the time and the bandwidth? I have a daughter who's a senior in high school, and if you've ever had a senior in high school, you know that that's a fairly busy year, and there's always a lot to do. And then I have my own job to do, and yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be something that I can. I don't know if that's going to be an actual option, but it is definitely something I'm looking into currently. But yeah, I would either get a degree in social work or counseling, because at the school that I work at, you can technically get a job as a school counselor with either degree. And both of the social workers like pointed out to me that if I just went into counseling, then that's the only job that I could do for the district. But if I did social work, then not only could I be a social worker for the district, but I could also, you know, get jobs outside of school if I ever got burnt out on working with these kiddos for a period of time. And I think that happens a lot because, you know, like, it's trauma. And when you're working with kiddos who have been through trauma, there's not just emotional support needs, but there's behavioral support needs, and that can be very, very draining. And so I think it's important to have options. I would love, I mean, I would really, I don't know how I feel about going back to school. I wouldn't love going back to school, but I do want to get a job in that capacity. So, oh man, I just shoved that in. They all fell. I'll have to redo those couple, but darn it. But you know, I don't know. I hope you're doing well. I'm obviously kind of like in a weird limbo headspace. I did not sleep again last night, I think, until I hear word for sure. I mean, I have insomnia anyway, but this just kind of exacerbates it, you know? So I think once I hear word for sure about my job, things will be better and it won't be quite so overwhelming, but just is what it is for now, right? And I just need to be willing to pivot. So anyway, I hope that you have had a good week. I hope that you are doing well, and I really appreciate you clicking on and watching. If you watched until this point, my ramblings, I apologize. If you watched until this point, please put a like a smiley face emoji, I guess, in the comments. And because I don't really know what else, unless there's, you know what, there's a broom emoji. I think there's got to be something, like a potion bottle. Do something witchy in the comment section, you know, some kind of witchy emoji, potion, whatever. And let me know how you're doing. And otherwise, yeah, a Sparkle.Sanctuary is wherever you go to diamond paint and unwind and regroup and relax. And so just make sure you're taking time for yourself this week. give yourself space to be in a sparkle sanctuary, and just take care of yourself, your mental health, and your well-being. And I'll see you next time. Bye.